Right? Facebook family, happy Mother's Day. YouTube channel, happy Mother's Day. If your mother is in the house but not in the room, you need to go get her because she's going to feel good after this message. I'm not so sure about you, but she'll feel good, so we'll wait. Go get her. Actually, we're not going to wait. But and if you're still there, how about hitting share and like on the Facebook page this morning so that others might hear this message. Usually when you or when I do a sermon, I kind of save the punchline for last. But I want to do the punchline first this morning, and it's simply this: Mom, celebrate the things you do right. Okay? Oh, it's there. Okay. We're going to Pam, who's running tech today, part of it, we're going to have to kind of dance together because we had some electronic issues. So, oh, you have it now, so we don't have to dance. Good, because I don't dance very well. All right, Mom, celebrate the things you do right. And that's something that you don't hear all the time, because in my experience, most moms would say, I don't do anything right. I've heard you say that before. I just don't do anything right. And I always think, you've been listening to your kids again, haven't you? You've been listening to your children. You don't do anything right. Kids are probably going to feel kind of bad today, but I don't care. We'll give you a kids' day, maybe in 2022. But Mom, it's not just your day, it's your turn. If you think I don't do anything right, listen, there's always somebody in your life who'll tell you what you've done wrong, even if you haven't done it wrong. Kids will tell you that. How do I know? Because I was a kid. And there were times, a lot of times, when my parents, they just didn't do anything right. They didn't know anything about life. They didn't know anything about raising children. They didn't know anything about giving their son money when he needed it. They just didn't know. And I would make them feel like some of you feel today. All right, if you're a mom and you're in the room, if you're a mom and you're watching Facebook, if you're a mom and you're on our YouTube channel, here's what I want you to do. I want you just to repeat after me, moms, because probably you haven't heard yourself say this in a long time. You moms ready to repeat this? Here's what you're going to repeat. I do a lot of things right. Okay, are you ready, moms? Now, you guys, you stay quiet. Kids, stay quiet. Moms, are you ready? Here's what we're going to say. I do a lot of things right. Are you ready, moms? Here it goes. I do a lot of things right. Now, the one mom who said that really believes it. The rest of you are like, I do a lot of things right. You're scared to say it because your kids and your husband. Mom, we're going to do that again because that was absolutely pathetic. I want you to say, I do a lot of things right. Are you ready, Mom? Say it. I do a lot of things right. My hope for you today, mothers, is this. You're going to leave feeling great if everybody else leaves here feeling terrible, because it's your turn. If you think you're a bad mom, compared to whom? Because everybody makes comparisons. Who are you comparing yourself to? Well, if you want to make a comparison, compare yourself. Listen, moms, compare yourself to a lady named Mary Ann Cotton. Just weigh yourself against Mary Ann Cotton. Mary Ann Cotton lived a long, long time ago, well, about a century ago. And she had a hobby. It was poisoning people. It was a secret hobby for a long time. This was back in the day before really good forensics, and they didn't know what was causing all of the deaths around this lady, Mary Ann Cotton. But her secret hobby was to poison people with arsenic. And she would do it very slowly. She had 13 children. She poisoned and killed 11 of them with arsenic. 4 husbands. Why are you laughing? Why are you ladies laughing? I'm not giving you ideas. I mean, this is not a show and tell. 4 husbands were killed with arsenic. 2 boyfriends. Yeah. And 2 neighbors. All killed with arsenic by Mary Ann Cotton. I'm telling you, that is a bad mom. She's a bad mom. And in comparison, Any mom who's watching us, any mom who's in the room, in comparison to Mary Ann Cotton, I'm telling you, you are a good mom. You do a lot of things right. At least, I hope you're a good mom. I mean, I haven't seen some of your husbands in a while, you know. See, the whole problem is in comparisons. Who do you compare yourself to? What I would encourage you moms to do today is this. Stop comparing yourself with any other person on the planet. Just stop doing it. Because here's the truth. You can always find a better mom than you. Always. There's not but one best. And you probably got the coffee cup this morning, didn't you? Best mom in the world. You're probably not. There's always a mom who can do it better. Listen, there's always a mom who can do it worse and does do it worse. If you're familiar with Stephen Furtick, he's pastor at Elevation Church, really a world-changing church. Listen to what he says. Stop comparing your worst moments to other people's highlight reels. Isn't that what we do? We look at it. We look at a 1-minute clip of somebody who's a great actor, a great sports person, just a great human, and we compare all of our worst moments to their 2 minutes of fame. You see, I think what Furtick's trying to tell us is we all have the 2 minutes of fame, but we all have the things that don't make the highlight reels. So stop, mothers, stop comparing yourself to anyone else. Have you ever Googled a picture, ladies, of your favorite model? And you say, boy, next to her, I'm horrible. Next time you do that, Google your favorite model without makeup. Just put her name in and say without makeup. Next picture that pops up is going to make you feel good about you. Because it'll be like, ooh, what happened? Look, anybody, or guys can't, but any lady can go to a professional makeup artist and look like a model. If that's the way you want to compare yourself. So I agree with Furtick. Stop comparing your worst moments to everybody else's makeover. I read this week about a mother who was in therapy, and she couldn't make it to the therapist, so she emailed. Listen to what she emailed. She said to her therapist, I'm just so frustrated. You know my girls, they're 16 and 18. Well, there's the problem, Mom. I told you, everybody's going to feel bad except moms. I'm going to get us all. She wrote, I devote all of my life and all of my energy to raising my 16 and 18-year-old girls. I stayed up all night with them when they were sick, when they were small. I've driven them everywhere when they didn't have a license. I work extra shifts at work to pay for their activities when my husband and I run low on money. There were times I wanted to go shopping. I wanted to see my friends, but I stayed at home because my kids wanted to have their friends over. Then she writes, you see, as you know, my own parents neglected me. So I swore I would be the opposite kind of parent. And today, my younger daughter is in therapy with another therapist for anxiety. And she largely blames me. And here was the last line to her therapist. Where did I fail as a mother? Where did I fail? The therapist emailed the mom back. And the therapist in the email said, slow down, catch your breath, and listen very carefully to what I'm about to tell you. No parent can measure to the standards you have set for yourself. No parent can shelter their child from all of life's difficulties, no matter how hard they try. You describe doing the best you can in sacrificing for your daughters. Your daughters are lucky. And they should be absolutely grateful that you are in their lives. You're not even close to being a bad mother just because your kids say that you are. Not a mother in this world has a child who gets through life without challenges. And here it comes. The therapist said, Mom, celebrate the things you do right. The world will tell you what you do wrong. Celebrate the things that you do right. And when I read that story, that was the catalyst for this message this morning. Celebrate the things you do right. So after I saw that, I went onto the web and I just typed in, because it was Mother's Day and I was trying to figure out what we were going to do today. I typed in this, characteristics of a good mother. And up come the websites. Let me tell you something, Mom. Don't do that. Do not go home. Don't get on your phone right now and type in characteristics of a good mother. You don't think you can feel any worse? You read those things and you'll feel terrible. You'll feel worse than you do now. I mean, you're not going to measure up. And then I went to YouTube. This one was funny. You can do this one. There was a 24-year-old mom, and her first baby was probably 3 months old. Well, she was telling mothers the 10 best ways to take care of themselves and be a happy and healthy mom. 24 with a 3-month-old. I actually wrote down her name because I want to YouTube her in about 2 years. And you know the reason you laugh. I mean, she's going to have scraggly hair, probably a tooth or two knocked out. It's going to be horrible, and I'm probably going to appreciate it. Telling you ladies how to be a happy mom. Kid's 3 months old. God bless her, right? God bless her, yeah. So my encouragement to you ladies is do not Google the characteristics of a good mom. You just can't measure up. But what I did next, I then did this. I Googled Bible characteristics of a good mom. Don't do it. I mean, that's going to make you feel worse than the other one. And they kind of cheat. They really did some unfair things. You're not going to measure up at all to this. But what they did, and it didn't take me long to find out, some of the websites would say the top 5 Bible characteristics of a good mom, the top 10 Bible characteristics of a good mom, and how to be like those moms. Listen, every article did the same thing. They would cherry pick from mothers throughout the Bible. They would take the best of this mother and the best of this one, all throughout the Bible, and they would put them together. And I'm telling you, not one mom in the Bible could measure up to that stuff. So don't make comparisons. You lose every time. Listen, moms, you aren't doing everything right. You're not. If your kids are grown, and you have any relationship with them, you're still not doing everything right. But I want you to hear what I'm saying to you. You're not doing everything wrong either. Could you do better in some areas? Sure. Absolutely. Are you doing good in some areas even though somebody might be telling you you're not, but you're really doing good in those areas? Yes. So my encouragement to you is be careful who you listen to. Let me give you 3 things that I'd like to see mothers around the world do this morning. And these will come up on the screen. If you're watching by Facebook, they should come up on the bottom third. Number 1, I would ask mothers everywhere to do this. Ask forgiveness for the places you know you've messed up. Now listen, the places you know, not the places other people tell you you've messed up. The places you know you've messed up, just ask forgiveness. Number 2, work on the areas you know you want to get better. And it's not every area in your life. And number 3, find the places you're doing okay, or even better okay, and celebrate them. How do you do that? Well, maybe nobody else will do it for you, Mom, but I'm telling you this. You ought to pat yourself on the back. You ought to walk away from here saying, I don't do everything wrong. I do some things right. I'm going to show you in just a minute how you do. You may say, I had a bad mom. You may feel like a bad mom. I'm telling you, There are some bad moms in this world. There are. But you probably did not have one. If you did, we'll help you best we can. We'll get you all the help we can get. But 99.9% of the mothers who's ever breathed air on this planet have not been the kind of mom I told you about earlier. So moms, you haven't done everything right, of course, but you haven't done everything wrong. If you can't find anybody else to celebrate with you, talk to someone here, talk to an elder, talk to a pastor. We'll celebrate the good that you're doing. We'll help you where you want to get better. We will attach you to a mother in this church who's got the t-shirt that says been there, done that, and got puke stains from babies all over them. They know how to do it. They've been where you are. We can help you with that. Now, if you still want to make some comparisons, if you want to make some mom comparisons, let me tell you about a few memorable mothers in the Bible. In Matthew chapter 14, John the Baptist, he was coming down hard on some people for doing some wrong things. And Herod was the king of the day, not a good guy. Now Herod, he kind of had an eye for his brother's former wife. It was really getting kind of weird and all messed up with emotions and sex and stuff like that in Herod's family. So he just takes Philip's, that's his brother, he just takes the guy's wife, former wife. Well, John knew that was against God's law, so John started preaching against Herod publicly. He started, every time he would see Herod, he would say, in God's eyes, you're doing the wrong thing. Really hammering on Herod. Well, Herod couldn't take that. So if we'll pick up the story in Matthew 14:3, I want to show you a memorable mother in the New Testament. Herod had arrested and imprisoned John as a favor to his wife Herodias. Wow. Okay. She's the former wife of Herod's brother Philip. John had been telling Herod, it's against God's law for you to marry her. Well, Herod wanted to kill John, but he was afraid of a riot because all the people believed John was a prophet. But at a birthday party for Herod, Herodias, that's the lady he's hooked up with, Herodias' daughter performed a dance that greatly pleased him. So he promised the daughter with a vow, I'll give you anything she wanted. Now here it comes. At her mother's urging, you think you're a bad mom? Come on. At her mother's urging, the girl said, I want the head of John the Baptist on a tray. That is a bad mama. Jesus once said, no child born of a woman has ever been greater than John the Baptist. And this mother had that man put to death and brought her daughter in the mix. You're not a bad mother. That's a bad mother. Let me give you a couple of good mothers. Bible trivia. Anybody ever heard of Jochebed? Come on. I'm looking at my daughter who's supposed to know that. No, you probably studied it at some point. Anybody know Jochebed? She got it. Did you Google that? Okay. Yeah, Jochebed was the mother of a man named Moses. You've probably heard of Moses. You'll find her story in Exodus chapters 1 and 2. And she isn't mentioned by name, but a little bit later she is mentioned. Now in Exodus chapter 1 verse 22, anytime you see the word Pharaoh, that doesn't mean a good guy, it means a bad guy. He was a king of Egypt and he was a non-believer. And what they were doing is they made slaves out of the Jews. And all of a sudden the Jews are making babies and there's a lot of boy babies. And the Pharaoh gets paranoid and he says, when these Jew babies grow up, when these boys grow up, they're going to overpower us and take the kingdom. So in the end of chapter 1, it says, then Pharaoh gave this order to his people. throw every newborn Hebrew baby boy into the Nile River, but let the girls live. So he knew if the girls lived, then the Egyptians could have babies with them, and then they could just keep them slaves. So he wants all of God's newborn Hebrew boys killed. Pick it up in chapter 2, verse 1, if you're following along. About this time, a man and a woman from the tribe of Levi got married. The man's name was Amram, and the lady was named Jochebed. I wouldn't have named my daughter that, but that was the name of the day, Jochebed. Verse 2, Jochebed became pregnant and gave birth to a son. That was Moses. She saw that he was a special baby. She kept him hidden for 3 months. That's what this mother was doing, risking her life to keep her son alive. Because had anybody seen her son, they were going to kill him. Verse 3, when she could no longer hide him, she got a basket made of papyrus reeds, waterproofed it with tar and pitch. She put the baby in the basket, laid it among the reeds along the bank of the Nile River. Now, if you stop the story there, you would say, that is a horrible mother. She is a negligent mother. And in today's world, it would kind of look like that. But look at what happens next. The baby's sister, Miriam, Moses' sister, Jochebed had his sister standing at a distance watching to see what would happen. She didn't leave Moses alone. That's a good mother. Verse 5, soon Pharaoh's daughter came down to bathe in the river. Pharaoh's daughter, the Egyptian's daughter, came down to bathe in the river. Her attendants walking along the riverbank, they saw the basket among the reeds. They went and got it, and when the princess opened it, she saw the baby. He was crying. She feels sorry for him and said, she said, he must be one of the Hebrew children. Now get this part of the story. All of a sudden, Moses' sister, she sees what happens. She runs over to the Pharaoh's daughter, and she says, look, should I go find one of the Hebrew women to nurse him? Because the Pharaoh's daughter couldn't nurse him. And the princess said, of course. The girl, who do you think she went and got to nurse Moses? Jochebed, his mother. Jochebed comes up, and the Pharaoh princess says, take this baby and nurse him for me. I'll pay you for your help. Now all of the moms, she gets to keep her baby, and now the bad guys are paying her for it. That's a good mom. Later, when the boy was older, his mother brought him back to Pharaoh's daughter, who adopted him as her own son. That would be a hard day. And the princess named him Moses, for she explained, I lifted him out of the water. The reason I believe Jochebed was such a good mother, she risked everything to keep her baby alive. She risked everything. I bet some of you mothers would do the same thing. I bet some of you mothers have done the same thing. That's a good mother. One more mother. Name's Eunice. In 2 Timothy 1:5, Paul's writing to Timothy, this young preacher, and he says, I remember your genuine faith, for you share the faith that first filled your grandmother Lois and your mother Eunice. And I know that same faith continues strong in you. That's a good mother. Eunice didn't do everything right. She was having to raise a teenage son. Probably not the easiest thing on the planet to do. But Timothy never doubted her faith. You know why? Because Eunice showed him her faith. Eunice talked to him about her faith. And look at what Paul says. This is why I remind you, Timothy, fan into flames the gift God gave you when I laid my hands on you. For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power and of love and of self-discipline. It was through the faith of Eunice that Timothy became the man that he is. She taught it to him and she modeled it. That is a good mother. Listen, Mom, no matter where you've messed up, let your kids hear you talk about faith in God. Let your kids hear you say the name Jesus and what he means to you. Let your kids see you model faith. No matter how bad the day gets, no matter how bad the situation gets, let your kid see you stay strong in faith, just like Eunice. You tell your kids, look, God has never stopped loving me, and He won't stop loving you. He's never abandoned me, and He won't abandon you. Plant that truth in your children, mothers, and then just call it a day. You've done your job. So I'll leave you with this. Characteristics of a good mother. I only have two. Number one, overprotect your children. I'm 64 years old. And my mom's not 64 years old. And she still overprotects her son. I used to hate that. I love that today. Overprotect your children. They're not going to like it, but you do it anyway, moms. You know why? Because you're a mom and they ain't. And the second thing, fill them with faith in God through Jesus. Just never let them see you waver when it comes to your faith in Jesus. Listen, Mom, why don't you go out and celebrate the things you do right? Because you do a whole lot of things right. Let's pray. God, I'm believing that it's been a long, long time since some of the mothers under my voice have heard that. Matter of fact, I'm not sure I've ever said it quite like I said it this morning. So I pray that you would help me as a son celebrate the things today that my mother did right and continues to do right. There are people who are listening to this message and they can't celebrate with their mother hands-on because their mothers are gone. Those mothers didn't do everything right, but they didn't do everything wrong. So I pray that those children, whether their moms are still here or their moms have passed on, would find something about those mothers to celebrate.